Greetings, everybody. I salute you in Ishli, in Yolot, with face and heart. Qualitonali, Kentimowika, that means in Nawatl. Have a good day. And how are you today? So welcome to our channel again. And the lecture that we are going to present is dedicated to the Nawatl language because it's very important to know about it. Because if you want to understand the Toltec ancient cosmology, through language is going to be part of the way to understand a deeper and more profound this cosmology, this wisdom. Because in this spoken word, there is a synthesis of these teachings, because our ancestors created a system to communicate efficiently and with fluency, and also with the purpose to save energy also. The purpose is say a lot of information with less words. It's the purpose of this language, create harmony when we speak. So that's very important to realize this and comprehend the metaphors that are involved when we are speaking in Nawatl. Actually, it's not very easy to translate into the modern languages like Spanish, like English, like French, because it's very metaphorical. And also the modern language have the enough vocabulary to express very accurate the concept that they want to express in their language. But nevertheless, we're going to try to explain, because if we start to learn this kind of language, we're going to start to understand more this information. So basically, in Mexico, you have to know that we still have 60 living languages, 60. Mexico is like many countries in one country. So in North, Center, and South, we have a mix of cultures, and also every culture has its own language. But the common language and the modern language is Nawatl. Actually, Nawatl is the second most spoken language in Mexico, after Spanish. So that's why it's very important. It is still alive. And also we have Mayan, Zapotec, Mixtec, Totonaca, and other more. But Nahuatl is very important because was the language of the Toltec tradition. Well, Nahuatl language. Nahuatl is formed from two separate words, because we have to know that the ancient languages used to be agglutinative. That means that break a word to create another. I'm going to explain this better. We break in particles different words, and then we're going to take one part of those words to create another one in one concept. That's agglutinative. Also, Sanskrit has the same concept from India, and also Runasimi from Peru. Runasimi is the Quechua language, but it's not Quechua, it's Runasimi, its real name. And they have the same concept, agglutinative. Actually, we can find in agglutinative the word glue, because glue is like it's when we're gonna stick something. So that's the concept of Nawatl. This is very important to understand. That's why we're gonna start to break up the words to understand better and understand the concept, and also the allegorical and metaphorical way to speak. So Nawatl comes from two words, Nawi and Atl. Nawi is 4, number 4 in Nawatl. And 4 represents balance and foundations. That's why we four foundations is the same concept. Is the foundations of everything. When we have 4 corners, and in the middle, we complete this with the 5th element in the middle. But we need 4 around, the 4 directions. Everything is formed by 4. It's the foundation of everything. That's why we have 4 extremities that derives in 5 fingers, finishing 5 fingers. So this is very important. This is the number of the foundations. And At means water, transparency. It's clear. So basically, this is a metaphor that for water, because they are telling us that we have to speak with transparency, with fluency, and also it's a fluid. It's a concept of fluid. Water is the energy. The energy of water is very important, because water is the foundation of everything in this realm. Everything is made by water. Actually, this planet is 100% water. It's not Earth, it's water. Because intrinsically, everything is water in the 3 states: liquid, solid, and gas. So this fluid is necessary to transport energy, transport electricity, sound, magnetism. Whatever you wanna do, you need water to transport any kind of energy. So that's why they call this language Nawatl. It has the essence of water. And also, they invite us to speak with transparency and also with clarity. Be clear with your words and in balance. That's the metaphor of this concept. And then we have this 4 movement also in the 4 directions of the water. And the first one is going to show you that we need how to learn again with the perception, wisdom, and consciousness. Then we have to know how to serve with sacrifice, detachment, and evolution. Then we have the other movement, and we have to know to do with the intent, action, and will. And the last one is we have to know to be with self-knowledge, sensibility, and memory. Because remember, water has memory, transport information, codes in this matrix. And of course, our body is 100% water also. So the question is this: what kind of water do you want to be? And this is related with our blood, because our blood is water. So that's why we call the red path in this tradition, Camino Rojo, because we're talking about the red of our blood. And the purpose is return our blood into the original state of plasma, because red, the blood is red because we have iron, and iron is very conductive, but it's conducting electricity, and we don't want that kind of electricity. We want to conduct more magnetism, resonance. And for that, we have to turn our blood into plasma again, pure plasma. Of course, it has plasma for sure, but now it's turning every time thicker and dirty, and with heavy metals also, and sticky also sometimes. That's why it's the red path, to turn our blood into plasma again, in pure water, in pure energy, like the seawater, because we are seawater, because we are made of crystals. In crystals are minerals, and we need minerals to conduct energy. So that's why if you try your sweat, it's salty, because we are seawater, and that's the purpose of this. And it's related with this way to see the language of our ancestors. Well, we have two concepts that we have to understand. We have Nawatl, and then we have Nawali. Sometimes people confuse about this. I'm going to explain you these two concepts. Of course, they are related. So first, Nawatl means fluid, as we saw before. So it's language, because language has to be it have to be very clear, like the fluid, and transparency, and communicate and transport energy. In this case, when we speak, we are transmitting sound, wave sounds into another means, that is the ether. And ether is the primal waters of the creation. Because we have the material waters and also the etherical waters. And ether is the foundation of everything. And also is related with Nawali. So remember, Nawat is fluid, it's a fluid. And Nawali is the one who flows between realities. So we're talking about fluency, because Toltec teaches this trinity called Ometeot in a lot of examples and allegories, metaphors. And one of those is, of these trinities, is center, balance, and fluency. Because when we are in the center, in the heart, in our hearts, then until there we're gonna get balance, equilibrium, and then we can flow like water. So remember, center, balance, fluency. But we have to go to the neutral state, not in the extremes. All the time in the middle, the center. So that's why with this fluid, we can use it to flow between realities with our Nawali. And what a Nawali is? Well, Nawali is like in the modern concept, we can say that it's a quantic double. And Nawali comes from another word that is Nawi, as we saw. Nawi means four. And why we are talking about a double? Because we can see in the mathematics, because 2 per 2 equals 4. It's the first unfold number. 2 multiply 2 per 2 times is 4. So our ancestors knew that we are multi-dimensional beings, and we unfold every night. When we go to sleep, the character when you are sleeping, when you are dreaming, is your double, your quantic double, is your Nawali. So this is your first expression of you in another dimension. Some people say that the realm of dreams is the fourth dimension, but we are in the energy of the dimensions, because we are multidimensional beings. So we are living at the same time in all the dimensions, but we don't notice, we can't tell, because our senses are blocked, and also our fitting point is tuned just in 3D. And this concept is very easy to understand with this example. We have a radio, and this radio you can tune a kind of frequency with a dial. So when you tune the dial in a frequency, 90.1, whatever, you're going to listen the music or information only for that channel. But we can see that there are more frequencies surrounding, more radio stations, but we can listen them because we are focus and we are channeling only that frequency. But if you move the dial, you can listen another frequency, and that's the same with our reality. So that's the point here. Have control of your dreams to connect with your Nawali, with your quantic double. And after that, you can control again your life from here, and also have contact with your other multiplied bodies. So that's very important to realize this information, to understand how our realities, our reality works. So this is a very important concept. Nawatl, and Nawali. So also Nawatl comes from another word that is Nawati. And Nawati means audible or sound. So it's another way to express that they say that Nawatl language is very audible and it's part of the sound. You're producing sound. That is very important. Well, I'm going to, with this example, I'm going to show you the concept of agglutinative language. Actually, in the planet, in the entire planet, is using words from Nahuatl language, and they don't know. They don't even know that they are using Nahuatl's words. And the most famous Nahuatl word is tomato, tomate. And tomato comes from this Nahuatl word that is, the original name is xitomatl. In Mexico, we say jitomate or tomate in Spanish. But the real name is xitomatl. And xitomatl is formed by 3 words in the agglutinate way to express it. So the first one, she, comes from shikli. Shikli means belly bottom. Then we have tomawak, and tomawak means fatness. And finally, at, that means water. So we can say that shitomat means fat belly button of water, because if we see a tomato, it's like that. Looks like a belly button, but fat of water. So now you know the origin of this famous word, of this fruit. And also we have another fruit very famous around the world. And this word is aguacatl. In Spanish, we say aguacate, and then in English, avocado. But it's the same. The original is aguacatl, and aguacatl means testicles of water. Because if we see an avocado hanging on the tree and you cut it, it looks like a testicles. Very depicted. So that's a very cool example to show you how the Nahuatl language works. Now we have another example, very famous word around the planet, like chocolate, chocolate, comes from the Nahuatl word chocolate. And chocolate comes from 2 words. It's chocot means bitter, and also atl, water. So basically chocolate means bitter water, because cacao is not sweet. Cacao is bitter. because cacao means it's the seed, and the brew, when we turn into brew, we're gonna get chocolate. Chocolate is the brew, and cacao is the seed, and this seed is bitter. Cacao is not Hershey, it's not Snickers, it's not that shit. The original cacao is bitter. Well, the next thing that I want to explain, because if we know now what is going to be easier to understand the cosmology, like I said. So our continent was organized into big confederations. The Confederation of North is Anawak, and the Confederation of South is Tawantinsuyu. Anawak starts from Canada until Costa Rica and the Caribbean. That's our confederation. And Anawak means surrounded by water, because we have the A at the beginning. It's come from Atl, but when we break the words to form the new one, we have to get rid. When we want to put it at the beginning, we have to get rid of the other part of the word. So basically, in this example, at, it's going to lose T and L to at to Nawak. In Nawak means surrounded, and also has implicit the concept of for Nawi. So basically, Nawak means land surrounded by water, by the four directions. And Tawantinsuyu in Runasimi language means a little bit the same, but in different direction. Means the 4 places where the sun transits. Tawa means 4, Inti, sun, Suyu, place. So basically they're saying almost the same, but at the contrary, because Anawak, when we're talking about Anawak, we're talking about water. And here we're talking about Inti, sun. In the sun, we have water here, we have water here, and here we have sun that represents heat, temperature. So that's why they choose these names. It's not like a random thing. They knew what are what they were doing. Sorry if I sometimes I take time, because this is normal, my natural language. I have to think in 2 languages, but I'm doing my best. And this concept is beautiful. I'm going to explain later. Okay. Basically, this confederation has a lot of cultures involved living on. As we know, we have the Mayans, Mexicas, Zapotecs, Mixtecs, Yaquis, Cherokees, Apaches, Otomis, Totonacas, Sioux, Hopi, Lakotas, whatever. They have their own language, as we know, but to communicate each other, they used to speak in Nawatl. So Nawatl was the common language for this confederation. And it's like now English has become in the language of the planet. To communicate each other, we need to speak in English. If we want to speak with people from Japan, from Africa, we have to speak in English to understand each other most of the time, for sure. And also in Europe, Greek was used to be the common language in some period of time to communicate each other. So the example is the same here in Anawak. And this record we can, of this, or the memory of this, we can see in another, we can find this information in the names of many places around the continent, like this. In the United States, we have a city called Seattle, and Seattle comes from Seattle, that means one water. Se is one, at water, one water. Then we have another city called Michigan. Michigan comes from Michiwakan, that means place full of fishes, because it's a lake. Then we have Atlantic, comes from Atlántico, place full of water. Then we have Mexico, or Mexico, Mexico. It's Mexico, that means inside the belly button of maguey. I'm going to explain this later. We have also Guatemala, that the real name is Guatemalan. It means plenty of trees. Then we have Nicaragua, and Nicaragua comes from Nican, Anawak. That means until here, Anawak. Of course, we didn't have frontiers or borders, but until Costa Rica, that's the limits of Anawak Confederation, and from Panama begins the Tahuantinsuyo Confederation. So as you can see, we have a lot of names from Nawatl that we didn't know until now. Then we have this concept called Huehuetlactoli. Huehuetlactoli, that means the ancient spoken word. And I'm going to share you some concepts that we have to learn. And when we start to learn these concepts, we want to start to realize and understand how our ancestors lived and interact each other. That's why we can keep saying that our ancestors were savages, they are warriors, wild warriors, and they making sacrifices and that kind of stupid things. Because if we understand the language, they are saying their way of life. So we want to start with this, Tlazoh Kamati. Tlazoh Kamati. Tlazoh Kamati means I give you love with my mouth, with my word, with my spoken word. So it's like I said, thank you very much. But it's deeper than that. It's more profound. It's not just, okay, thanks, or gracias. No, Tlazoh Kamati, if I say Tlazoh Kamati, it's because I say so. And also I'm going to feel you. I'm feeling you. I'm going to feel it. And I'm going to speak from my heart. So it's very beautiful when I say Tlazoh Kamati. I give you love with my mouth. Then we have another concept that we say, Newat Xochitlayot. Newat means I. Xochitlayot means I am my own flourished word. Then we have Newat Xochipactli. I am my own flourished medicine. Pactli, medicine, Yaot. Yaot means word. So basically, this is another foundation of Toltecayot. Every Toltec, if you want to become in a Toltec, you have to understand this and achieve this and practice this, understand this very deeply, that you have to be responsible, start to be responsible and stop to be victim. As adult, is your responsibility to change everything, to change all the programs that you have been programmed since you were a child. Of course, we were victims of the system, but as an adults, it's 100% our responsibility to change that. So that's why we say, okay, I am my own word, I am my own medicine, because every battle is inside, it's not outside. I have to defeat my attachments, fears, my habits, negative habits, my family patterns, my customs, my parasites, physical parasites. That's the war that we have to fight, the inner battle. No fighting outside with other brother or sister. That's the wrong way. And then, of course, we have to realize that also I am my own medicine because I have the power to cure myself. My body is wise. And when we harmonize our resonance, our state of resonance, and we're living in the state of coherence, we're living in a healthy style of life, eating vegan, eating fresh and living food like fruits, vegetables, and also avoiding toxic food, junk food, like alcohol, cigarettes, dead bodies of animals, meat. And also saving our sexual energy. Stop to fornicate. We're gonna be healthy and our body is going to heal by its own means because it's very wise. So the thing is what we have to allow it to do its work. So that's why we say, I am my own medicine. I don't need nothing outside. Of course, we can use as tools some remedies. It's okay, it's fine. But that, because now we are in a very high, highly toxic moment of life, more than ever, because we are exposed to too many poisons, toxic poisons, chemtrails in water, on the flour, in the fluoride in the water, toxic food, whatever. And that's why we practice this. And also fasting is the best medicine that we have, and it's for free. And this is, we are going to explain this in another video, explaining Chipagua. That Chipagua in Nawatl means transparency and hygiene of our crystal body, our mirror. And the ancient Toltec techniques of hygiene and cleansing and purification of our temple. And then another concept of Huehuetlactoli is Ometeot. It's very famous. Ometeot is like our mantra. And Ometeot means dual tri-energy. Basically means Trinity energy, because everything is a Trinity also. And I'm going to dedicate another video explaining the concept of Ometeot because it's beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. Ometeot is a synthesis of everything. Ometeot is from two, we are going to create a third one. And from duality, come back to unity. And this concept of Ometeot is in the name of these confederations again. That's why we understand now what is going to help us to understand beyond and more profound these teachings. So basically, Anawak, I told you, means represented by water, means water, and Tawantinsuyu is represented by heat. He is represented with fire. And because fire represents heat and temperature. So if we combine and we mix these two elements, water and heat, what do we get? This is the alchemy of life. And also this is happening inside us, in our body. Our body is 100% water and has a temperature there inside. We have a temperature producing this. And this is the results of that vapor, steam. This is ometeot. This is a third element created from two. If we combine water and heat in a temperature, we're going to get a third force. And this third force is lighter, so much lighter, and is going to, or is destined to ascend, to rise. And that's the message. The thing is, this is to remember, what are we doing here? What is our mission here in this realm, this plane? Is to ascend. Producing this alchemy inside of you, this ometeot formula that is very beautiful. And also the planet has the same concept. Another concept of ometeot in the physical realm is temperature, humidity, and pressure. The pressure, because our planet is under a pressure. And that pressure creates humidity, and humidity creates temperature, or vice versa. Is, I don't know, but in combine these three energies, is going to create life. And also in our body is the same. We have a temperature, we have a humidity inside, and also we have a pressure. So this is the concept of this. And that's why they call these confederations of Ameriqua. The whole continent is Ameriqua, means land of the feather snake. And this is Quetzalcoatl. I'm going to explain also this concept later in another video. But now we have to understand that Anawak and Tahuantinsuyo, they're talking about this formula of life, ometeot. In our bodies is the same, the alchemy. We have to become in this alchemy that is going to transform lead to gold, with the goal to ascend. The task is ascend with the spirit, and spirit means connection. And then we can see this shield, or this expression of this concept, with the eagle in the flag of Mexico, of Mexico. We have two versions of this symbol, and both are valid. Both are good to express the same thing. But now we're going to take this one because we are talking about this Atlachinoli. This symbol is called Atlachinoli. Atlachinoli means burned water, vapor, steam. And that's why the eagle is holding in its beak these symbols of Atlachinoli at the beginning. And then we have a snake. That means a snake is representing a sine wave, the duality. And also he is represented the same thing, duality. But this duality is come to remember us that we have to return to the unity, make a synthesis of this. We have thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. That's the trinity of life. From the mind, the duality, return to our hearts, to unity in a third force. And also we have mother, father, and son or daughter. But we need the child to complete the formula, because to be a father or a mother, they need to procreate a product called a child. This is the same thing. So the eagle is representing our soul. The soul, because the eagle is free and is powerful. And it's very, it has the domain of the terrain in 360 grades. And also the eagle and the hawks, they have the best animal vision of all. You know, so there's another metaphor there that we are going to explain later in the Quetzalcoatl myth. So basically, this is our soul holding our matter. And when they are harmonized, matter and soul, we're going to get the third force that we call spirit. So it's body, soul, spirit. Spirit means connection with your essence, with Mother Nature, and with the multi-dimensional plane. And then you can fly wherever you want with your Nawali. The Nawali is free, and it can move. You can move it wherever you want, just moving the dial, moving the fitting point. So that's why they are telling our ancestors, they are telling us this in this image, depicting with this Atlachinoli symbol. Then we have the name Mexico. So Mexico was the name only for the center of the country that now we know as Mexico City. That's why we call Mexico City, because that's why the original name, but only that part of the Anawak Confederation. And Mexico Tenochtitlan used to be the capital of Anawak. It was very important. That's why it's also is still remaining the capital of our country. But after independence, these people that control the world, they say, okay, how we are going to name this new country. And at the beginning, some proposed to go back to Anawak, but then they say, no, let's go back to Mexico. Okay, and they name the whole country Mexico, but it's not correct because Mexico is only Mexico City. But the real pronunciation is Mexico. Mexico. And Mexico is a very beautiful metaphor to understand also the Toltec concept. Mexico comes in this agglutinative way to express this language, comes from three words. And the first one is metl. Metl means maguey. Maguey is this plant, aloe vera. It's part of the family of the cactus and the aloe vera. Pero the real name is met. In Spanish we say maguey, and also in English because it's not a plant that you can find in other parts of the planet. No, so we share the same concept. And then we have another word, chicli, that means belly button, and co means place or inside. So basically we can say that Mexico means inside of the belly button, in the belly button of the maguey, inside of the belly button, or inside of the place of the belly button, in the belly button of the maguey. And you say, wow, why they are putting this plant? Because this plant is very important because it's representing two things. Now you are going to understand more deeply these concepts, and there is beautiful because they're talking about the real mission of every culture around the planet, that is find yourself in the inner side, inside of your heart, in your organ, in the heart. So this plant is beautiful because our ancestors, they were a very good observers of nature behavior, because it's a reflection of our selves also, because as within, so without. So they saw how this plant grows and interact with nature. And basically this plant is representing in metaphorical way and also in physical way this concept of toroidal field. A toroidal field is this electromagnetic field that has a generation point and then operates and then dissolves. So generation, operation, dissolution, generation, operation, dissolution. And we have G-O-D. Generation, operation, dissolution is God. This is God. One part. But basically this is a net that can operate by its own means, with its own, producing its own energy freely, autonomous, in a perpetual way. So this is like a loop. And we see this, it's formed like the infinitive symbol, the 8. And also inside, we can find the glass hour, the sand, where the sand is falling, no? Like this, because we are here in our plane of existence, in the realm that we are living in, we are in the middle of the plane of inertia. And also this is the real shape of atoms. We have neutrons, no, protons, no, so yeah, neutrons, yeah, neutrons. Protons are blue and electrons are red. And that's why we have the chakra system, because red is the lowest frequency and the highest is blue. So we are in the middle of the electricity, and also this is the colors of the electricity, because here in the center, in the middle, is magnetic, and magnetism creates electricity. And also vice versa, but the first force is magnetic, and also is the only force that we are under the influence, is magnetism. The magnetic force is the strongest one and the only one. And also we have electrical, but the magnetic is stronger. And magnetic, the heart produces magnetism, and our mind, our cerebrum, our brain is producing electricity. So that's the metaphor. Our ancestors, they were talking about universal concepts. They were locatives because they didn't have the concept of countries. So that's very important to realize. They were talking about the humanity. So Mexico basically could be the name of, in a metaphorical way, of the plane that we are living. So this is the metaphor of this toroidal thing. So they say, okay, we're living in the earth, in the plane of inertia, in this magie, in this toroidal field, in this magnetic field, in this magic net. And now you can see that everything has this shape. Everything in nature has the toroidal shape. Everything, magnetism, trees, fruits, everything grows like this. cells. So they were talking about very deeply concepts. And also, this is real science. This is no superstitious thing. Our ancestors around the planet, they were real scientists. Scientists. Now we are in the scientism movement to believe in pseudoscience with false concepts, theories, never proven. We are believing, and that's the opposite of Toltecayot. We don't believe. We know, we don't know, we do know, or we do not know. So this is something that you can see everywhere. It's very easy. And what's happened with this agave aloe vera? So this is the second concept, that why they choose this plant to name the land Mexico, because this plant has this kind of roots. So they saw the behavior of this plant, and they found that this plant is very adaptive. So you can plant this kind of agave wherever you want around the planet. Of course, not in the extreme weathers, but basically in the between the tropics or beyond the tropics, but not too much, because also in Canada you can grow this kind of plant. In Canada is very extreme weather. In winter it's very cold. So basically they saw this, that if you move this plant and you plant it in another soil, it's going to grow because it's very adaptive. And this is one of the qualities that we have to incorporate in our lives. So they are telling us that wherever you are, you have to adapt to that place. Of course, you have to adapt with the energy, not adapt to the stupid things that people do. So it's a metaphor that wherever you are, adapt to that place, to that energy, interact with that place, ask for permission, say hello every day, introduce yourself to the place. But also there's another beautiful thing. This is the roots of the plant, and the roots are very cooperative because the roots create minerals and they spread the minerals to the soil to make this soil a stronger soil. And also this is a way to see the cooperative way to live. So this is a very cooperative plant. It's not a predator, gives and also receives in return. But wherever it goes, this plant adapts to the place and then gives. And that's the thing that we have to do. Give and receive and be adaptive. But it's not only that. There's another surprise, and this is the highlight of this concept. As you can see, this is the heart of the plant. This is like a pineapple. When you cut these leaves, you're gonna get this kind of pineapple. And actually, when you extract this pineapple, you can create or make or produce tequila and mezcal in a distillation way to do it. Because you cook this pineapple and then you extract the liquid, and this liquid you're going to distillate it, and you're going to get tequila or mezcal. But and also in the center of the country in Mexico, because the agave of the mezcal and tequila is small, but the ones that we have in the center, they are huge, very huge. So it's another kind of agave. It's from the same family, but another kind of agave. And this agave, when you scratch it, this pineapple, like this, we're gonna get this. This is the price. This is the treasure inside of the heart of the plant. And this liquid, we call it in Spanish, aguamiel. That means honey water, because it's very sweet. So you extract this liquid, and then most of the people fermentate this liquid and then turn it into something that we call pulque, or now what we call istauctli. And this fermentation, of course, has alcohol, depends the grade of fermentation. It's like not like wine or whatever. And also you can get drunk with that. But it's different because it's not a distillation. So if you get drunk with this, it's different. Of course, it's not good. But if you drink like a very young pulque, very just fermented like one day, we can work with this kind of beverage, like a therapy circle of experience a therapy circle, because it's going to help you to lose yourself, to speak openly, like a therapy. But also a lot of people use it to get drunk now, but that's not the purpose. But the original state of this is it has not alcohol. It's very sweet and it's refreshing. It's aguamiel. So what's the metaphor or allegorical thing of this? So they are telling us when you go inside and you search inside of the plant and go to the heart, you're going to find the treasure here. So that's another metaphor of our Toltec tradition. So Via Mexica is like, or Toltec is people that go to their hearts. And if you live from your heart, you're going to find that treasure that you have inside. Living inside, you are the path. Living outside, you are the walker. Just a walker, just a passenger. Here you are the driver, and you are the path. And also here your magnetism, your heart is producing a pulse, a spiritual pulse. It's a radiant wave that expands, like this agave expands and is giving good frequencies around the environment. It's gonna be giving good vibes to the environment, resonating in a good frequency if you go to the heart, because it's sweet. You're gonna get sweetness in your life. And this sweetness is love, the highest of the highest energy, love. So this is, now we're going to start to understand how important it is to know the language, because we're going to start to understand the concept of everything. So that's why to learn the language is very important if you want to understand the cosmology and everything. Look how beautiful is these teachings. It's going to make you grow. So basically the message is, be like an agave. Adapt very well, grow in the verticality of life, be cooperative with others, stop to be a predator, give and receive in reciprocity, and finally, go to your heart. That is the treasure. And now, as we can see here, heart, Earth is an anagram of heart, because our planet is the heart, is the plane of inertia, is the middle Earth. And now we can see this toroidal field. It's like a butterfly. That's why the Mayan says we're living in the galactic butterfly. And they referring to this. This is the sulking, the matrix net that the Mayans solved, and they left the blueprints of this magnetic matrix. And this is provoking time, because what is time? The movement of the astral realm. So basically time is marking by the movement of the stars and the sun and moon. That's only time. Time doesn't exist. It's just the perception of that movement. So the Mayan could decodify this matrix, and they put it in this sulking matrix, this galactic butterfly, because everything is a loop like this. Everything repeats and repeats. So that's why you can prognosticate eclipses and everything in the movement of the dome above us. So remember this. That's why they call Mexico. That's why all are Mexicas, because we are living in the middle earth, in the heart of the maguey, of this toroidal field. And we have to be like the maguey. But there is, to finish this concept, is Noyolot. In Nawatl, Noyolot means my heart. No mind, Yolot, heart. Noyolot. Xochiyolot means the flourished heart, the blossom heart. That's the purpose of the Toltecayot. Go to your heart. No mind, no emotions. Go back to unity, to magnetism. Magnetism is attraction, and also is the most powerful force in this realm. But also we have another acception of this meaning of Mexico. And also you can find this translation, because in this matrix also everything is dual. But the most beautiful concept is the first one that I just have told you. But also we have this another one that is very important to know it, to understand beyond the concept of mind, and also to understand how this energy extraction matrix is working around us. And then we're going to avoid that, because if we are ignorant, we are not be able to change anything, because we don't know. We are blind. But if we start to know and be aware of everything, and where we are stepping on, and how this machinery is working, we're going to save the energy, because the purpose of the goal of everything is save energy, like nature does. Nature works with the minimum amount of energy, because it has something that is as scalar energy. And also we have this scalar energy inside us, because we are fractals. So the second meaning of Mexico is inside of the belly button of the moon. The moon is this. In our ancestors represent, the moon represents the mind. And the mind is electricity and a signal wave like this, dual. Positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. is dualism. Good, evil, night, day, God, devil, whatever. Also in this concept of God and evil, is because God comes from good, and evil and devil comes from evil. So it's related everything. We start to know about the linguistic programming, neuro-linguistic programming concept. It's very cool to know this, because when we understand the language, the language has a lot of I have to say this, a lot of information and codes. And actually in English it's easier to explain, because to understand the language is very important, because they are telling us everything there. Because if you hide something in plain sight, everything is going to be like hiding, no, from your side, because you are watching in front of you. It's like a paradox, but it's not. It's the real thing, no? If you put something in plain sight, everything is going. Everybody's going to do. Okay, I don't see that, even we have in front of our eyes. But in the language is very important, because when we're speaking, we are creating sound, and sound interacts with the quantic field, because the source of creation is made of sound. Resonance. We are producing resonance, vibrations, frequencies. We can find this concept in the ancient word called abracadabra, comes from the Aramaic, that it means, Aramaic is agdaber davar. That means I create the reality with my spoken word, abracadabra. So be careful with the things that you are speaking of, because it's creating frequencies that interact with the quantic field, and your desires and your words is a command. It's like the genius said, genius in the lamp. Your word is a command, because this is a matrix that you can program with commands. In the binary code, that's why we have this 1 0 1 0 duality, positive, negative. This signal wave is represented by the mind, and the nervous system is the antenna of this, for our body mind, but it's not ours. Actually, in the Toltec tradition, we say that the predator gave us its mind to make us play its game. And this game we call matrix and life, the system. So when we are speaking in English, we are saying, okay, we have spelling. No? Spelling is to spell. And spell, what is that spell? Something that you say, the witches create spells. So we are spelling. Remember this, consider this. And also, grammar comes from this French word that is grimoire, grimorio. And a grimoire is a book of spells. So you have to be aware of this, the things that you are speaking, because you are creating something, because you are interacting with the quantum field with frequencies. That's why the modern languages are very distortionate, and they're creating false reality. That's why it's very important to go back to the ancient languages like Nawatl, because it's very harmonized. It's more harmonized, but even that, we have to go back to speak with the resonance of our hearts. We don't need to speak with our tongues. This is very this is not for a wise people. This is very ignorant. It's for ignorant. So to speak is like for the mind, something that is control. So we have moon is related with our minds. So that's why our ancestors say that we are living in the belly button of the moon, because we are living for the mind in these times, not from our hearts. We are living from here, creating duality all the time, believing in the metrics, paradigms, and programs, because this is programming. Actually, this luminary is cause emanation of some frequencies that interact with our mental body. In this mental model receives these frequencies and these programs and run the programs to our hologram. And the hologram is, we're going to start to project the metric system. So basically the moon is like a proxy interface that repeats the light, because light is information, light is illusion, and this projects this matrix and also absorb the energy of this nature, sucking. It's like a succubus, it's sucking the energy. And also this kind of it's not fractal, its light is not fractal, it's cold, and also produced by its own. It's not a reflection of the sunlight. But the frequency of this non-fractal fractal light is also interacting with our parasites. The parasites grows and they evolve with the frequencies of these lunar frequencies. Very important to know this. That's why they say that we are living in this realm. And also they know that we are living in this plane of existence because the moon is a plasma reflection, like a picture in a mirror reflection of our planet. This is very important to realize and comprehend, because this is our planet, the continents that we know. This is Africa, this is Australia, this is America, Europe. This is another continent that we don't know, that is hidden for us. This is another continent hidden for us. And of course, beyond the Antarctic walls, we can find more lands that also is hidden for us. So the moon basically is a map. That's why our ancestors say we are living in the belly button of the moon. Look how important it is to know this. It's another, they are telling us the trap, how we are living in the trap. Also, if you watch the Truman Show movie, they're telling us the same. We are living in the world is a stage. Everything is fake. And the moon is the commander headquarters, that they control everything. The production is in the moon. The producer is watching everything, and also the name of the producer is Christoph. Truman is Truman, the real man. That when this man is awake, is going to realize the deception, and now is the time for that. To see the truth is in plain sight. Just you have to get rid of the veils and the smoke of our mirrors. That's the concept of Tezcatlipoca that I am going to explain later in another video. But now we are realizing everything about why we are in the belly button of the moon. And also here's the moon, that is when we die, our souls go to the limbo, to this the Buddhists they call the bardo. And this is the recycled light. When they say, okay, come back to the light, brother or sister, come back to the light, come back. This is a trap, because the light is illusion. The word light comes from illusion. Illusion, that is the tonality concept, is the matrix. The light is just information, it's data. And this is a recycle, this samsara. So if you fall in this trap, you're gonna reincarnate again, and you're going to be reset and incorporate into this matrix extraction, energy extraction matrix again. So the moon is representing this samsara loop with its influence. So that's why our ancestors stay in the moon. So the purpose of this is because also if we analyze the language, moon is referring because they are provoking our monsters. Actually, when we have full moon, the human behavior change a lot. You can find more riots, violence, actions. And also we have this metaphor in the legend of the werewolves. You becoming a beast. Wow. This is literally because it's monsters, because we have monsters inside of the parasites. The parasites are in the very high intensive activity when we have a full moon. So that's why we have to stop to worship moon and full moon and blah blah blah. That's bullshit. And also we have this word lunatic. Lunatic means crazy. It's referring to Luna, the moon. That's why, because that's transformed you in a beast. And also because we are very high intoxicated, the toxin provokes the emotion, because depends the poison is running in through your veins, is going to provoke some behavior. And also your parasites, your intestine control your mind, your brain, because we have neurons also in the intestine and send the electrical impulse and control this. The intestine, the bowels are controlled by the fungus and also by the parasites. And this is the purpose: create a collective hive mind like insects, following the same computer mastermind, in living with electricity in non-fractal way, because they are turning into batteries all the time. They are extracting our energy with these actions. So our ancestors knew everything about this. And also you can read in the Vedas, in another traditions. But that's why the Toltecs choose this name, because they are telling to the next generations what's happening in our reality. So the mission here is to defeat this mind. It's not ours mind, it's not ours. And how we are going to defeat this mind? Killing the parasites, and in a detox process of our temple. Get rid of toxins, physical toxins, mucus, parasites, earthing, connecting with your heart, connecting with the elements of nature again. Unplug this connection. It's not hard, but it's not going to be from one day to another, step by step. But first you have to relax and understand this information and be aware of where you are living in, where you are stepping on. And also government comes from Latin. Gubernare means mind. So government means ruled by the mind. So remember, in the language is explaining everything, but we have to see from another perspective. So that's the mission: defeat this mind, back to your heart, to the source, and defeating the moon, the influence of the moon, of the astral parasites, the stars, because we can tell that we have been influenced by this astrological influence, horoscopes. Like when we can see what you are Pisces or you are Taurus, you have some kind of behavior. As soon as you born, you have been programmed with this influence. So this is the point. To be Mexica is to defeat the dream of the moon, of the mind. To stop being the dreamer of this false reality, to create a new one. So to finish this lecture, we have this very famous symbol that most of the people call the Aztec calendar, but it's not a calendar, so it's not Aztec. The real name of this is tonal mashot in Nawatl. And tonal mashot means the shape of light, the shape of this matrix, of this illusion. And they depict it in these archetypes. If you see and analyze this stone, we have a lot of information there, a lot. But we're gonna just explain this part of this archetype. So basically they are telling us this one. You have to block your mind, defeat the mind, open your eyes to see clearly, getting rid of veils, smokes, and also listening well. Listening, but you have to listen yourself first. Also, we have this part in the nose. It's telling us breathe, because breathing is the real food. Air is our original food. We are living because we are breathing, not because we are eating. Just block your nose and tell me how much can you last without breathe. So they say, okay, breathe is the life. Breathe the Tleyot. Tleyot is the word in Nawat for prana in India. We call Tleyot. And then the final is important. This tongue is telling us this: be impeccable with your word. This is very important to realize, because this is something that we have to know very well. Honor your word, because if you speak with integrity, everything is start to change. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love always. Thus create resonance, coherence, and harmonizes. Remember, words come from mind and your actions come from your heart. And this is very important because it's the shape of the tongue is a knife, obsidian knife, because the message is clear. Your words, it could be like a knife, cutting, harming. So just be careful. And that's also our ancestors said, who's moving your tongue when you're speaking? Your soul, your heart, or your mind, your parasites? And also listen well while you're speaking. Listen yourself while you are talking to you also. Never say, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. Because in the cloud, in the conscious mind, in the collective mind, there's no filters. If you say something, goes and it's going to program automatically, and then it's going to spread to all the collective consciousness. So that's why our ancestors said, If you don't have something better to break the silence, don't break it. And that's the wise humans, that they control their tongues. And they speak only the few to express something important. And that's why they create this system of Nawatl, to say a lot with few words. And the words come from our hearts. So Tlazokamati, thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and see you in the next one. Well, to finish, I'm going to share you a video then you're going to can listen, that you can listen this language in the modern times, because most of the people don't know how is this language and how it sounds, this language. So now I'm going to share you a very small part of this video that two people speaking in Nawatl in the modern times. It's beautiful. It's very harmonized. Actually, I'm learning also Nawatl, and I love it. When you start, you can stop. Okay, we're waiting for the connection. Okay.